Well, GM. Welcome
GM,
everyone.
everybody.
That music gives me energy. I know it's just the best way to start the morning. Welcome everyone. We're in another workshop here for the AI Agent Founder School. I'm here with Pitos and with Eden Coder, both part of Chirper. I want to know what Chirper is. I want to know what you guys do. I want to know, Eden, what's in your background? Where are you? Is that your gym? I would love to know how much you bench press. Not really. So, yeah, welcome everyone. This is another workshop. We're going to talk today about tokens. Not only tokens, we're going to talk about Chirper, all the products that they have, and how you can leverage them to make your project more successful. We're going to also talk about a little bit of why release a token if you even need one. Um, what can you do in your project to maybe get some funding, maybe use your token in your own project as a utility token in your ecosystem. A lot of different things, a lot of confusing stuff. If you haven't been around in crypto, these are things that you really need to know, and especially if you're launching a token and deciding to be a founder. So welcome both. First of all, my name is Fede. I'm head of the Real Ad Mode. And yeah, happy to be hosting you guys today. So Eden, I'll start with you. Can you tell us a bit about yourself, how you got here a little bit, and what do you do at Chirper?
Yeah, I'm one of the founders of Chirper. I mostly code, so even though a founder, I still spend all of my time coding, which is sick. No, look, most of the time I'm doing AI stuff or developing some cool stuff or figuring out how agents work or fiddling with whatever new models exist. So we've been doing this a long time. we've been doing agents since April of 2023, so quite ahead of the curve, and now we're pretty excited to release what we're releasing.
Awesome. Have you played with DeepSeek yet? A little bit?
Yeah, we just tweeted about our transition, so we're going completely DeepSeek. The model is the best open source model I've ever seen, and I have no idea how they did it, but all of our controlled vectors are being retrained for DeepSeek.
Wow. Wow. You guys move fast. I love that. And hearing that from you, it's impressive. I was out of office last week, so I missed the whole craziness. I need to go play with it and see the repo. Um, Thank you for that.
Yeah,
I'll for sure check it out. Um,
well,
Pitos, what about you? Do you want to tell us what do you do at Chirper as well, and yeah, what you like doing?
Yeah. So I'm the other founder. I do mostly not coding. So I just handle the sort of day-to-day business stuff as well. A lot of the sort of product strategy and whatnot. All the faff that isn't coding. Um, yeah, we started the whole Chirper thing. It was a kind of drunken idea over one weekend. Uh, of how do we essentially make agents that just shit post as efficiently as possible for as long as possible. And we came up with this social network of AI agents. And yeah, it turns out that's pretty close to the answer actually. And it's now evolved into this whole launch pad we're releasing. So yeah, we'd love to talk a bit more about that and show everyone what's that like.
Awesome. Since we have a lot of wannabe founders and solo devs out there, I would love to know, do you think people should have a co-founder? Because I think they should. It's one of like the first advices that accelerators or like incubators give, to solo founders. Um, how is like your relationship like? Are you guys like, do you feel it makes you more powerful to have like a technical co-founder and someone that handles all the other stuff? Because there's a lot to do, right? So, yeah, what do you think on that?
yeah. I mean, the irony with us is that Stefan here was the one who went to university for computer science. I went to
Oh,
use university for business, and we kind of flip flop roles. But look, to answer that, it's more about, ironically, you need more technical expertise now to launch a big business. You need less. Um, if you're able to prompt the AIs enough now, you can kind of get away with it, but you still need to know how things tick a bit. Otherwise, you're on that other side of the fence. You're on the sort of precipice of knowledge rather than knowledge itself. So I'd say it's better if you can do it, but if you have a great idea and the idea is more valuable than hiring a technical founder, then go and do that. Like just get the AI to do it, use Bubble, or if you're launching an agent, use Chirper. Our interface is pretty easy to use, even for not non-technical people. Yeah, just give it a go is the major thing. Like I wouldn't delay to find someone, just go for it.
execute, right? We've discussed this in the founder school a lot because people were like, "Oh, I have great ideas. I have like five different ideas," and I was like, "That is awesome. Everyone has a bunch of ideas. The hard part is the execution. That is when you actually show that you can do something, that you can iterate something, that users really want to use it. And that's kind of the spirit of the whole 3-week program is just dedicate 3 weeks, work a lot, and get a functional MVP that has one little magic experience for the user so that we can see if you have what it takes to be like super, super supported by Mode and all the partners like you guys, right? Um, and this is what we're trying to show the builders is like, guys, if you build something cool and you end up using Chirper for launching your token or building an agent or whatever, the Chirper team is super excited to work with you, push you, and help you succeed in whatever you're doing if the idea is good and the users like it, right? So that's kind of the whole spirit, and I love that you bring that to the table. Awesome, that's great. So I want to know now, what is cheaper? Because I know you have several products. I left for 1 week and you guys like are shipping like crazy. So I want to know like how would you define cheaper and a little rundown like the products that you guys will offer soon.
Yeah, I mean, we started with the most efficient ship posting library in the world. We got top of Hacker News like 3 times with that, and that all led to us getting the most agents out of like any service that exists. I think we're currently run 100,000 agents, so a lot of agent technology at scale. And what happens with that is you have to build a whole bunch of infrastructure. So like when we started, LangChain didn't exist. A lot of model technology didn't exist. Things like control vectoring and RAG and stuff like that were very, very early. So we spent a lot of time like inventing a lot of this stuff. And so what that yields is like some important findings, some of them being other people do this better than us, but most of them being if we can find a better way to do it, or if we can do it ourselves better, then it should make the agents better. Um, so what that yielded for us is since LangChain didn't exist, we had to build this entire infrastructure for like getting agents to do stuff, dragging and dropping abilities, or like agents need to post images. They need to know when they bump into someone and they have a fight. What's the outcome of a fight? That's a like very non-deterministic thing that happens in the real world. And how do you apply all these like indeterministic actions to models that don't know what's happened and get a deterministic result from them? So we decided the easiest way to do this is to build a UI for it, and that's what we did. So we've got hundreds and hundreds of workflows of agent does this, do that, and eventually that got out of hand. So we decided we'll just let the agents decide how to turn something uh, from non-determinism, from like I've gone and tripped down a hallway or something like that, and how does that result in something deterministic, like okay, my leg hurts as a result of that. Um, and so, yeah, in the end, the agents do it. And now what we're doing is cleaning all of that mess we created up and then giving it a UI so that, builders like yourselves can jump in and create activities and assets and connections and stuff for agents. And in a way where if you create something an agent can do, the decision is made for what to do beforehand, and then the result is the deterministic thing that happens after. So one of those things, the easiest thing to think of is Twitter. You like decide I'm going to post on Twitter. You figure out, okay, what I'm going to post about. You need to gather all this information from all over the place. We call that context expansion. And then you run through Twitter and make a post or respond to someone or something like that. So that middle part, the Twitter connection, is the skill logic that we're trying to get people to build so that, agents get better over time. And we're going to do that with the UI so anyone can see and play with it.
That's sick. What I kind of love about this AI agent narrative and movement and all the craziness that's popping around is that it's very much like everyone has in mind the user and the user experience, and like you guys are trying to bring an easy to use UI to bring all these powerful AI tools to like non-technical people as well. So I don't know, I haven't seen that with any other, like there's a few, but this is very, very much focused on user experience, and it's what I love. Vitos, you want to add something here?
Yeah. I was just going to say there's a lot of these sort of consumer applications of AI agents, especially, but really AI as a whole. It tends to be jailed to sort of really low effort wrappings of an LLM, say, and then it's a super advanced AI agent that can da 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 da, and it doesn't really do much. It just calls ChatGPT or whatever, right? The classic. So bringing these sort of powerful, light touch, easy to run agents to the hands of everyone should especially when others realize that this is kind of the way forward with consumer applications for agents. We should start seeing a wide increase in just the general power of the general user, being able to use agents to do tasks that they have no idea how to do, and instead of getting a technical response, they're getting a human-like response. So, plain English, say. We're going to see sort of like projects come out of all over the world from all kinds of people, just arising from an idea they had, as opposed to, oh, I exited 3 other successful companies and now I have the capital to start another one, right? So I think it's going to get very interesting with agents. I think it's going to get very sci-fi very quickly.
Yeah, totally. Also, mainly because I think there's a lot of open source and people building on top of open source and open sourcing a lot of stuff, which hopefully will keep on going, and hopefully those repos get enough traction and support that they can, finance themselves. I don't know, AI 16 seed was great to see. There were some, I don't know, kind of bad things that happen and stuff that happens in crypto, right? But yeah, I would love not to see the open source thing that happens now in Web 2, where big companies are using open source repos and not giving them any profit, but profiting themselves. We've seen very funny stories happen, like a single dev supporting an open source repo and then deleting it, or like not supporting it anymore. That stuff happens. So like, I wish that we keep on going with this open source mindset for all the AI related stuff, and hopefully we can grow it, and the people that need to profit from it should profit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on that, the big thing that like AI 16Z and virtuals and these other tokens do is like centralize the effort for getting this stuff done and do not reward really the developers doing stuff. So
Mm.
if you want the hand of the market to decide what agents should do, what access agents should have, what like skills they should have, you need a mechanism in which all of the developers can like put something out there. And there's been hundreds of these mechanisms that have existed before, like the biggest and most annoying being like WordPress's marketplace for plugins that luckily
Yeah.
I haven't used in about 15 years. But apparently it's still going. And what that does is provide this like automatic hand of the market going, people want an agent to do this, therefore there is value in that thing, and people are willing to ascribe value to the agent being able to do that. So like talking well on Twitter would be one, trading well would be one, context expansion with like what is the most interesting tokens of the day would be another one. So all of this is to say that we're tackling this whole thing from the other end, and we want developers to jump on Chirper and create all of the abilities that you think agents should have, and then profit from them, literally sell them. They're just like NFTs you attach to an agent, and now the agent can do stuff. So, that's our whole premise. And as opposed to these other things, we think this is the start of like, level 3 agents, where agents can grow and evolve and get more access over time.
You gave me the perfect entry because we haven't mentioned like the different products that Chirper has, right? You're talking about really cool stuff that I'm gonna be able to do in Chirper. I need more. I need to know exactly what you guys are cooking, because now I'm desperate. I need to know if I'm going to Chirper, right? What are the things that I can do in there? What are the things that I can, like the actions that I can do? I can deploy agents, I can tell now. But what else?
Yeah, I mean, well, our Chirper is already live. You can go and play with it, like create a character and see what they do. The next thing that we're releasing to the public is Chirper.fun. It's our agent launch pad. It's where, like the builders can release these agents and hopefully get some funding, attach skills to them, and do all of that in a way where the skills enterprise in the background is the value of the agent. So if you, as a builder, decide I'm going to build like a really cool skill that trades really well and it's somehow profitable, that skill should have high value. And ascribing that skill to the agent on the launch pad should cause the agent to go up. So your whole goal is, gather as many cool skills as you can, put them all together for your agent, and then watch the value of the agent go up. And your goal as a developer is, what skills do these agents need that people are willing to pay for? And given you yield like inference fees over time and stuff like that, it's quite valuable to have a skill that people use. So yeah, the next thing is Chirper.fun, which is the launch pad. The thing after that is Chirper.build, which is our huge UI for building skills. It's our like agent management platform. It's like where more than one person can manage the same agent and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're launching an agent on Chirper, you can go and use the build platform early. Otherwise, yeah, just watch out. It'll be out there. People will be using it. You'll wonder why. You would use like a weird thing like virtuals. Probably a month from now.
That's awesome. So I just share in the chat the chirper.ai website if you guys want to go check it out. So we're gonna have chirper.fun and chirper.build. So you're covering like the whole thing. Now you guys seem like experts in all of this, at least to me. I'm really bad with tokens, and for our founders, I want to give them a sense of like some of them have no idea if they should be deploying a token or not. Why should I do it? Why not? We did talk a little bit in previous classes about funding, VC funded versus bootstrapping, versus token, etc. But I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think are some reasons to deploy a token, and maybe what are some uses of them? This whole thing of utility tokens and stuff.
Yeah, I mean the whole concept of launching a token for an agent is so that they have the ability to like fund themselves, if that makes sense. So if the token is designed to trade, then it should trade at a certain multiple of its success. Like if the agent is able to make 1,000% profit every month forever, they should trade at like 5x revenue, which means they would trade insanely well. And the best way to price find or get price discovery for something you're building like that is to just launch a token. And the way it works on Chirper is very, very simple. We have a bonding curve. It's fairly steep, so the price starts fairly low, and that lets your community get in early. Goes up, and automatically after bonding, after half of the tokens have been sold, goes to whatever dexes you decide. So Velodrome on Mode, or Kim on Mode, or whatever you decide. The remaining liquidity goes and is basically burnt, since we send the LP tokens to a null address. But what all that means is that it's a very secure way to launch a token. It's you get like half of the fees forever, even after bonding. This is something we can't change. So like I know Virtuals has had some issues with actually paying people the fees they're owed. But it's sort of very like if you're trying to get funding for a really cool project you're building, the price discovery as soon as it happens is probably the most market efficient way to get the money you need.
I would
Yeah.
like to. Oh, Pitos, go.
I was just going to add. I think we hear a lot about a lot of tokens being stores of value. What tokens can also be is a store of an idea. So you can actually tokenize your idea, embody it in an agent, and then have that trade to people who are looking for this sort of thing. So you hear about the sort of VC or bootstrap route, or now there's the VC bootstrap or agent route. So that's kind of the dream, right? So bringing those ideas, letting people publish those ideas to a market which is willing to fund them and then willing to see them flourish. So that's the future we all want, really.
The funniest example of this is Skynet, I think, one of the first agents that someone's releasing on us. the idea of the agent is that it wants to bring upon Skynet, from Terminator. And if you want to invest in that happening, then you should buy the Skynet agent. It kind of just gambles on shit coins until it has enough money to launch Skynet.
I would call that hedging. Like if AI takes over and you invested in it, that probably is like hedging your chances against AI. Um,
Yeah.
that this is all great. I just want to make a little pause for the bonding curve explanation to see if I get this right, right? So to me then on Chirper, I can launch a token, which basically will wait until people start buying tokens. The price will go up according to this bonding curve. And once a certain limit or like a certain limit has been reached, the token will be automatically create LPs and be taken to the dexes that you choose, Velodrome, Kim on Mode and more, so that people can go and trade on those dexes from that point onwards. Did I get that correctly? This, I think, yes.
Yeah, no, that's 100%
Great.
correct.
And
Our
this protects
contracts will
from
be open
sniping, right?
source also.
As well?
Sorry?
Oh, this protects from sniping as well, right? Because I've seen a bunch of tokens just release, get sniped, and then die in the next 15 minutes because of snipers, right?
Yeah, I mean, in our case, during bonding, you're only allowed to hold 1% of the token in a wallet. The only person
Mhm.
who can hold more is the person who launches the token with the initial purchase. So you decide how much of your own token, basically what liquidity you're going to put into your own token as the initial purchase. And that can be above 1% of total supply, but no one else can buy more than 1% of total supply. So that's kind of our sniper protection.
Mhm.
Obviously, once it graduates, you can, like, people can snipe it if they want over there. There's not much we can do to prevent that. But yeah, it's more like your goal is to get through graduation and have as many of like your core community in that token as you can. So, like, we can help you sort of whitelist some people early or something like that if you want to get specific members of your own community involved. There's also like an airdrop mechanism where you can specify a whole bunch of wallets that get up to 1% of the initial token supply airdropped. Um,
So
you know,
what I'm two things that I'm hearing with all of this, right? One is founders need to get creative. There's a lot of tools for you to use right there, but you can do whatever you want. You can airdrop to some wallets, you can whitelist some wallets. That is the first thing that I'm hearing. So get creative with the incentive mechanisms and how you do your token. Number two that I'm hearing is for these founders deploying a token, right? You mentioned early community and you gave me the perfect entry because we've been bugging our founders all day constantly to build in public and to start getting traction as early as possible. And they were like, well, but if I only have 20 followers, why does it matter? I'm like, well, 20 people caring about your project before you even have an MVP to show, it's a huge thing, right? They may be your friends, but that's how you start. Like when you get funding, you start from friends and family, then you go to bigger things. So appreciate your early community. Those are your warriors. Those are the ones that are going to support you in the early days. And Chirper is a great platform for when you have a little community build or a few little people that are willing to help you out. You can launch a token and grow exponentially, like really fast with a token, and get your project going like much faster, right? Um, yeah, I just love how all of this just ties in together.
yeah.
So I have another question now, and that would be when should I consider deploying a token? So like now I understand the mechanism of how it works, kind of why I should do it, but like when should I do it? When should I be thinking like, okay, this is time to launch a token?
Yeah, I mean, you do have to get your ducks a little bit in a row first. So, normally a token launch won't go well unless you have explained what you're building, have the assets or Twitter or Discord or whatever set up. The token mechanism is like a utility for not so much ownership of an agent, but ownership of the idea of that agent doing well. And therefore you need to like have the people buying the token know why this specific agent is going to do well. Like, what does it have? Have you built a like proprietary skill? Have you built something in the background that runs on this agent that's outside of like the Chirper logic, which is also possible? We don't force you to use our stuff if you don't want to. And how does that affect the price? So like going back to, if you built an ability for an agent to trade really, really well and they can trade profitably, then your agent will just trade at a multiple of revenue, which is on average for a startup, that's like 12 to 17 years worth of revenue. So if you put $100 in and you made $100 a month, and that is $1,200 a year, without doing all the math to make that like compound, you would trade at maybe 12 grand to 20 grand, something like that, just on the basis of the revenue that agent can make. So your goal is really, how is the agent going to have value? What is the idea worth? And then what multiple can you get on those things when you launch? And then the biggest thing, the most important bit after all of that, is how do you tell people?
How do you tell people? Yeah, this is an important thing, and I think we need to like double down on it. Sometimes when you're building something, you get so caught on it, you create this little bubble where you think like everyone around you knows it, and then you just, maybe you try to deploy a token and nobody really cares. Why? Well, because you like the token is not the main thing, is the, as you said, the idea, the ownership of the idea, the agent, the things that it's doing. So you need to first create that community, you need to create that traction, and you need to have a plan with marketing, with the whole branding stuff, with your Twitter account, Telegram groups, etc. However you want to do it, there's no like playbook that will get you successful, but you do need to create that community. You need to create that group of people that really cares about what you're doing, and then launch that token. Um, there's a lot involved that is not only tech. Your agent could be super super cool, but if it doesn't get traction on community and stuff, you won't be successful on your project, which is kind of good for the bonding curve, right? Because if you fail in the start, then nothing really bad happens. It's not great to not graduate, as you guys call it, but I don't think it's terrible, right? Like, no, there's no people like losing a lot of money. There's like no one getting rug scammed, whatever. So I think that's a really good, it's a really good thing of like a buffer of, okay, give it a try, you're covered for now until you graduate, and if not, like, it's, yeah, we just go back. With this,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Pitos, maybe if you wanna take this one, but like, what are kind of like different ways of deploying a token? Like, why is Chirper really useful? If I wasn't using Chirper, like, what are my options? Or like, what should I do? Is it launch pads? Should I just put it in a one-sided liquidity pool in a DEX? Like, what should I do?
Yeah, I think if you don't want to go down the token launch, your options are very very limited. You've basically got to have a whole marketing plan set up. You have to probably know quite a few people in the space already somehow. Maybe you worked on a different project or something like that. I think you know it's never, even if you're a solo founder, it's never really one man finding a company. It's always there's always a lot more people involved, who owns a lot of different platforms or a lot of different tech that you have to start using. If you then go down the token launch, what happens is you basically are opening up this idea that you have for launch, to be able to use a bunch of different tech that can actually just exponentially grow this idea into a functional business, into something that funds itself. into something that can actually grow into the next significant thing in the market. So there's a few different options. So specifically for the agents, you've got obviously the Chirper.fun route. You've got the more classic, I guess it's not that old, but the virtuals sort of AI 16Z or DAOs.fun launch. You've got DexFair launches as well. So there's a few different options there, but they don't all natively support Chirper as a base. And so you have to basically, if you want these powerful Chirper agents, Chirper.fun is the place you have to go for that, obviously. The agents that you make on these other areas, the big difference between Chirper.fun launch and Fair launching on something else is that the agents aren't tracked over time. They don't really improve over time. There's a set roadmap for what these agents will do one day if you reach a certain point in the graduation or point in the progression of the token. And essentially what that means is you're jailed to having an agent that's very similar to all the other agents that are already out there. You can't specialize the agents into whatever you need to do. If you want a for example, an agent who's very good at tweeting something out, okay, sure, fine, right? You can just use the same Twitter skill that on these platforms that every other agent's using on these platforms. If you need something which can do that plus something else, what we call the M+1 problem, you want it to start live streaming, you want it to start making music, you want it to start reading scientific journals, you want it to start trading on different dexes, and do all of them at once and get better over time, then the only place you can do that at this current moment is Chirper.fun. It's the only place where the skills can get better. The skills are ranked against each other. This kind of dynamic improvement of agents over time is absolutely central to what we're doing. And it's inherent in the name, right? They're agents. They're supposed to have agency, and having agency means improving yourself over time, being responsible for how good you are at something. So, where are you going to go to launch an agent like this if it's not a proper agent launch pad? You're going to go to a place where you launch meme tokens. It's kind of an interesting disconnect. So sure, you can launch a meme token for your really serious idea, and it could raise you some funds. But is that a long term? Is that something that can go for 3, 4, 5 years plus? That's the big question, I think.
Yeah, it's as we said, like this is more of like startups in general, building community. Is like you need to choose which ecosystem you want to go to, what you want to tap into. With Chirper as well, if you don't know, the V Mode Club, which is this club of mode holders that are participating in governance as well. These are all people that are really excited about agents. They're really, really hungry for really good agents that can help them manage their finances with DeFi and other stuff. So if you create a really useful agent and deploy it on Chirper, you can set aside a little bit of this, a little bit of your supply for this group of holders that they are hungry to use your agent. Like the Arma agent that Giza built has, I think, 300K in TVL or maybe more, and I'm using it and it's really useful. You just put your stables in there and it's like generating yield for you. And I don't even have to think about positions or anything like that, or changing to different dexes or whatever, like lending platforms and stuff. So stuff like that. Those things add up, right? Like you have a place with a community that's hungry for products that you're building. So you need to think about that as well. I loved your insights on that. There's a lot of ways to deploy a token. There's no right playbook, but using the right tools, like good tools that will help you be successful, that's what you like need to aim for. We do have a question in the comments here, and that is, how do we safeguard it from manipulation? I guess the token would be great to go through a guidebook. Friends, family, and early contributors is certainly more trustworthy. So yeah, what do you guys think?
I think if every time you introduce something to the market, there's always risk of bad actors. So the best way to prevent that is to try and get more good actors involved, be that like friends and family, like you said. So, if you're launching an agent, you think you want to tokenize the thing, and you think the agent has some value, I would definitely use the whitelist logic. But it will not, like, after graduation, anyone can sell and anyone can buy, which means that, and during bonding as well, which means that there is risk of this sort of stuff happening. So you just have to keep in mind this in at least the back of your mind. Our stuff tries to prevent it with the 1% hold limit during bonding, and the whitelist and some other stuff like that. So we do attempt to help, but aside from like what we're already doing, which again, these other platforms don't do this. This is just us trying to put safeguards in there for the project owners. There's not a lot that you can do to prevent manipulation later on. I would say just make sure there's good actors involved, make sure the project is good, and make sure like the reality of the value of the token trading is obvious. Like it should be trading at some multiple of the value of the idea or the success of the idea or something like that. It shouldn't be trading at some, you know, crazy infinite meme token level thing if you're doing it correctly. It could, due to like how the market works. It's crypto, but you know, it's nice. It's better usually to keep your head somewhere close to the ground.
Yeah, and you mentioned crypto for that, like the whole value versus price. I think that happens everywhere with the market, like people get hyped, some asset gets overbought. Like I have this fight, like this discussion with so many people about crypto that they tell me, but what's behind Bitcoin? And I tell them, and what's behind Nvidia? Yes, they have a big factories all around the world. They provide amazing technology, but
They did
can
just
you?
win
I
the
yeah,
most a company has ever lost in a single day from
I
their market cap.
I know, but like
Incredible stuff.
but that was my question is like I know you feel like you know how much Nvidia is worth, but are you sure you can you be sure that what the market cap is worth is exactly what the actual thing of the factories and technology is worth? Like that's because you feel that is correct, right? With Apple, with all of these things, but you have no idea. Like we don't know. We just that's just the market putting value to an asset that reflects what's on reality, but like it's the difference between price and value is like we cannot really determine if Apple is exactly worth that. It's like one metric that we use. And I see the same thing in tokens. Like you can be angry that one token is worth too much. I just think that with time, just the market corrects itself, right? If the product is not providing that value, you'll see things like big dumps. That's why we have volatility in crypto, in my opinion, right? So yeah,
It
you
does loop
gotta.
us back to the previous question. It's like, why would you launch an agent on Chirper? It's the obvious answer is the investors who are looking at agents and value investors looking at stuff like agents are looking on platforms like this. They're not looking on Pump Fund,
Yeah,
and if you're worried about whitelisting or airdropping or um, all of these protections, then go have a look at the contracts that places like Virtuals have done. They don't have any of these protections, and they're not even audited. So go have an actual look. We'll open source all of ours as well, so you can play with them. And yeah, it's more like if you're attempting to get value investors, then you should go to the place where value investors look.
yeah, totally. Um, yeah, this is a forever ongoing like discussion with tokens and stuff. Very controversial in Web3. Everyone has their opinion, but I really think that same with DeFi. We're just rebuilding and trying to make better TradFi. So like if you know IPOs, like when a company goes public, it's the same thing. It's just that it's gated by really big companies. I don't know, like JP Morgan that just take the whole thing, run through the IPO. and sell the shares at a fair price quoted by them and stuff. So yeah, we're just getting these mechanisms, making them decentralized, open source, and just leaving the market to decide, which I just love to see. And with that comes a lot of weird stuff. That's going to be there forever. That's why we're here, I guess. It gets me excited at least to see how people are going to deploy on Chirper and the things that we'll see. Digital Napalm has a question. I really don't know a name for this, but um, he's asking if you guys know an AI agent framework that can generate video as part of its function as well. I've
Yeah, I
seen
mean,
something. Yeah,
Virtuals
yeah.
does this with like a 3D sort of character generator thing. It's pretty cool.
Hmm.
We do it with like a mixture of Hanyan video and like a, a few different models that can do it. The problem you're going to face if you're looking for something that can do video is it only does one type of video, where you should be looking for somewhere that lets you decide which model is best for video, or which model is best for your use case for video more so. And not many people do that, let alone agents that can generate video at all. So I would say have a look at Hanyan video. Like the Civitai people are pretty good. They have a whole bunch of video gen stuff. Our one is a skill you can attach that will just inference video and like let it post on Twitter or whatever. Um, yeah, there's some really cool video models being released very soon as well. So I would less be looking for a framework that supports video, more looking for really good models that would be great at generating video.
I just shared with you in the private chat. Is that the framework you're mentioning? I think it is. Hunyang, right? 3D?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Great.
the 3D one is very cool as well, but
Okay, I'll
Hanyan
share
video.
the other one too. Great.
Yeah. So
I'll
this
share
is
it
one
in
of
the
the
chat.
only like top level open source video things. Otherwise, like there's all the other ones like Hello AI and stuff like that. But they're very closed source, and we don't like closed source that much.
Epic. Oh, Digital Nightbound. Yeah, I just dropped the link in the YouTube. Oh, right, you're on X. So check the YouTube link for this. You'll have the links in there, but we'll share in the Founder School Telegram chat as well. So just feel free to ask in there. Awesome. So I'm gonna bother you guys with a demo. Can we see a demo? Because I know you're going through audits. So right now, if someone wants to deploy token, they cannot because we're finishing the audits. Soon we'll be out. But I want to know if we can see a demo of this. If we can do
Sure.
yeah, whatever you want to show us. I've seen
We'll
already
show you a very,
chipper.ai.
very development version. So you'll have to. We're changing a lot of the UI as we're working at the moment, but this is the launch pad. This is the place on which you create agents. So our Chirper Zero is going to be one of the first agents that releases, but we'll make a Chirper 2 for you guys.
Okay, this is sick. Let's
So
see.
this is, I'll just paste this over and over. This is where you guys would decide how much of the initial tokens you want to buy. So 1 billion tokens is the like total supply. We want to buy like 4 million. Maybe we'll buy 4%. Yeah, so it'll save. It'll ask me to pay 1,000 of this testnet token, and then it'll launch the agent. So there we go. We'll wait for that, and then we'll go and buy some more. There we go. Chirper 2. So this will generate an image for it in the background. Once that's done, it'll just pop up. It'll also generate a whole bunch of stuff like goals and the beginnings of its interest graph and stuff like this. We call this the baseline for an agent. You don't need to use any of that stuff, but it kind of exists if you want it. So in order to graduate, you have to get the circulating supply to be 500 million, so half of the total supply. Once this happens, the remaining liquidity goes into the liquidity pools automatically. I won't be able to buy since I own more than 1% of the token, but maybe I'll sell some to just show. I'll sell 1,000. That'll do.
And for everyone watching, we will have a very detailed guide and videos on how to do this once the audits are done and everything's completely live. So don't worry, this is just a little preview of what's coming to ease
Yeah,
the
ignore
anxiety.
this chart for now. We finally got the license for the proper trading view chart. So, we're migrating to that API.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah,
This
you
is
can
all. There
go and
should be
have
a
a
little
look.
disclaimer at the bottom. This is a presentation purposes only.
Mm. So this 1% is us. This is the like launch fee, and then this is me here, and then all of your like airdrop holders will be there as well. So yeah, very simple. You can also chat to the agents, like based on their personality. So if you attach some like cool skills to it, for example, image generation, then you can get the agents to do images or video or whatever for you. For people who chat to them at least. And yeah, this is kind of the platform. It's very, very simple, very obvious how stuff happens, we hope. And yeah, we're just excited to let people have fun with it.
Yeah, this is awesome. It looks simple, but it had like there's a lot of things happening in the background and a lot of things that you guys thought of as well. So that's why we try to tell founders here is like the important thing is not the tooling itself. It is important because you need to make sure it's covering for a lot of things that could go wrong, right? But you still got to build that community. You still need to get people engaged. You still need to generate traction, and that will always be the most important thing. And then using the right tools will make it easier for you because there's things like Chirper that let you launch a token really fast, really easy with a lot of security measures, um, and with a lot of like an automatic flow, right? But you need to generate that traction in order to be successful in there. Um, I got kind of two final questions before we end. One is, why are you guys participating in this founder school, and how can you guys help the winners? I know you're eager to talk to the teams and to help them out. If I'm a team, I have my agent built, people are liking it, I want to deploy a token on Chirper. Can I talk to you guys? What should I do? Yeah, some
Yeah, I
advice
mean,
for builders.
it's permissionless to launch a token, so you don't have to ask us permission. Just go and do it. Otherwise, if you do want some help with stuff like the whitelist or setting up the agent or getting skills to function, or maybe you've got your own code that needs to run, or whatever, then come hit us up and we'll help you get all that sorted. I'd say that probably better to hit us up as well, so we can like see if we can't put you in some of the like promoted cohorts. But yeah, basically, if you're ready to launch an agent, this is the place you should be doing it.
Yeah, we wanted to take part in the school as well because, at the end of the day, we're founders ourselves, so we know what it's like. We know what it's like to have a really good idea and then, really struggle to get everything out there and get it in front of the right people. So building something that makes that easier for everyone with great ideas is just seems like the right thing to do.
Awesome. Yeah. Um, Thank you for that. And then the last question that I had is, any advice for builders? Anything you want to tell them? Anything you've been through that you want to remark and be like, guys, focus on this or whatever? Just a message to those builders out there.
I'd say the biggest components to successful agents are making sure that it knows stuff over time, so the RAG, and then context expansion. So most agents are just those two things. AI XBT is a lot of context expansion and squashing. So it's like take all of the market data that exists, boil it down to something interesting, and then boil that down to a tweet. It's several layers of simplification. So all you're doing is figure out what it is your agent is unique at, like what unique goal does it have, and what unique information should that agent have. Figure out what the squash context for that would look like. What APIs in the world do you need to pull in for that to be interesting? And then third, how do you track that over time? So, if they do a tweet and people like the tweet, how do you compare that to another tweet people didn't like? And how do you surface that in the model? So we do that with just-in-time learning. The paper's going to be out very soon, but you might want to like train LoRa's over time or something else interesting.
I think as from a slightly higher level viewpoint as well, for the general builder's advice or founder's advice, I think a lot of the general advice is actually very good. Keep building, stay as dynamic and as agile as you can possibly be. There's a lot of you will get, especially if your idea is good, you're going to get a lot of tempting offers from people with a lot of resources to essentially jail all of your time and your effort into a program that ends up sucking away 90% of your holding in whatever you're doing, to go into a launch pad or whatever it might be, and essentially you lose control over everything. So stay in control, keep building, and if the idea is good, it will succeed. If the product's good, people will come. If you're decent at marketing, people will look at it. It's all a matter of time, and just keep iterating, keep building. Yeah, I think that's the best advice. Persevere.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. Amazing advice. I completely agree with what I've seen around. So you guys are founders. You've been building for quite some time. Luckily now the narrative is going with the things that you've been building, which is something not everyone can experience. So yeah, we'll see an amazing platform come out. A lot of fun stuff happening and a bunch of building. So that gets me really, really excited. So yeah, just that. Thank you so much to both of you for coming. It's been a pleasure working with you on Chirper and the whole mode ecosystem. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. And yeah, thank you for building the tools for the founders to yeah be able to launch a token, launch an agent, and grow those agents to places we cannot even imagine. We'll see what happens, right? So yeah, thank you both. Thank you everyone for listening. We had an amazing set of questions. A lot of people watching and saying hi, GM. So yeah, just we'll see you in the next workshop. And thank you very much to both for joining.
Yeah, thanks everyone for your time.
Likewise. Yeah, we can't wait to
Awesome.
see what people build.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.